Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank vs Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is Coon Cassius for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're at the weigh-in here for Dillian White's fight tomorrow night at Wembley over Arena with Jermaine Franklin. I'm joined by the Haymaker himself, David Haye. Are you still the Haymaker?
I'm still the Haymaker. Yeah, still the Haymaker. I was born a Haymaker, and I'll die the Haymaker.
Yeah. I thought like once you like retired, then
The spirit of it. Anytime you hear "Ain't no stopping us now," it keeps the energy flowing. And the vibe of the Haymaker, no doubt.
when that comes on, wherever you are, do you still feel like what?
It just gets the juices flowing. Yeah, it's in there. It's still bubbling around in there.
I think to be fair, you own that song.
I should get some type of royalties when that's played for sure.
Okay, potential banana skin tomorrow night for Dillian White or not?
Yeah, for sure. A heavyweight who's 21-0, who's unknown. Nobody knows too much about him. He's had a couple of fringe level heavyweights on his resume, that's it. Don't really know too much about him as an amateur. So yeah, massive banana skin. If Dillian hasn't taken him 100% seriously and goes in there like it's just a tune-up, crazy things happen in his heavyweight division. But Dillian's experienced enough now to know, losing 2 of your last 3 fights, you need to make a statement. He needs to do something special. He needs to go out there against an undefeated American heavyweight who's been in the UK for 3-4 weeks. He's been here. He's not turning up like the usual American opponents do 4 or 5 days before the fight. He's acclimatized. He's been sparring with Fury in camp. So he's by all accounts, he's a bit of a handful. And Dillian's going to need to make sure that that uppercut doesn't land on him again, as that's been the shot that's done him 2 times in a row. I hope he's been working on preventing that shot landing from his opponent. But it's quite an intriguing fight. I'm looking forward to it. More importantly, the winner of the fight gets that potential Anthony Joshua mega fight. That fight is huge, absolutely massive, all British fight. That's a football stadium fight. It's massive. So there's a lot at stake, a hell of a lot at stake, and I think Dillian's professional enough to tick this box.
Where do you think Dillian White's career is as it stands? He spent a long time in that WBC #1 position, chasing that world title shot. He got it. I mean, I don't know what the day count in the end was before he actually got that shot, but he eventually did get it now. But because it wasn't his night against Tyson Fury back in April, is it a case of now a little bit of a rebuild? Because he's quite far on in his career to kind of... Do you understand what I'm saying? I
don't think he needs to rebuild anything. I think he is who he is. We all love the energy he brings to fights, to the press conferences. He doesn't stand for no foolishness. I've always liked that energy from him. And he just needs to keep on winning. One more win here, impressive win, sets up a massive fight with Anthony Joshua. So he doesn't need to change, he just needs to be himself. Go out there and land quality shots, use his physical attributes, and he should win this fight. Could be tough, it's unknown, but a fight against him and Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, and Anthony Joshua in a non-title fight, that for me really gets the juices flowing.
One of the funniest things he's ever done, you know what I'm going to say, didn't you? When you lost to Tony Bellew, he called you out ringside, which I thought was hilarious.
That was fun. I remember coming out the ring, battered and bruised, really feeling sorry for myself, and I see Dillian. I've known Dillian for years and years. I used to spar with him when he was an amateur. He came over, I thought he was going to come over and go, "Unlucky, mate. I think it's time to quit, call it a day." He was like, "I want to fight you next." I'm like, "Luke was behind me." Luke was behind me. You would have called me out. Not his best moment, I'm sure. I'm sure he cringes when he thinks about it now. But it's quite funny. Made me smile anyway.
We know, obviously, next week there is the fight between Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora. I'm assuming that you will be somewhere present for fight week of that as well, with your now good friend Derek Chisora. So what are we actually learning from kind of the end of year heavyweight antics? Because usually we can kind of see a path to what's going to happen next year, but do either of these fights suggest that we can tell what's going to happen?
This fight with Franklin and White will plan for a possible April fight, I'm told, for Anthony Joshua and the winner of this fight. If it's Franklin, I'm sure Franklin will get that shot. I'm sure AJ would like to fight an undefeated American who's just beat Dillian White. So either fight, both sell. The fight with CHISORA and Tyson Fury, I'm not sure where that puts anybody. It's more of a marking time fight, I assume, in Tyson Fury's mind, where he fights someone he's beaten twice before, so in his mind he's comfortable going into it. He gives him an excuse to stay in the gym, stay fit, stay ready, so when that big fight potentially comes up with Usyk, he's match ready and he feels good to not have to go into a massive camp, you know. So I think in Tyson Fury's mind, this is a safe fight for him to stay busy, sell some tickets, make some money, and give his buddy Derek Chisora a payday along the way.
Are we officially losing hope for Joshua and Tyson Fury?
I've unsubscribed to that being the thing that I focus on.
It won't happen in your opinion?
No, it'll happen, but it'll happen way past, just like Mayweather and
Pacquiao.
The Pacquiao situation, dragged out for years and years, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. Sooner or later, if the fighters are both big enough, it has to happen. The only time it didn't happen was Riddick Bowe when he threw the belt in the ring and didn't want to fight Lennox Lewis. That's the only time it's kind of popped out. Other than that, everyone kind of fights everyone at some stage, sooner or later, but I'm not holding out hope for next year. Hopefully, but I'm not holding hope. I just want the best fights to take place as soon as possible.
From an outside perspective, just kind of looking in, it's very difficult to judge who's to actually blame for that fight not happening.
That's part of the problem. You know, I've always been a big fan of, if two teams are interested in fighting each other, why are they making anything public? It's a terrible way to negotiate through the press. All it does is it just stagnates and stalls the genuine progression. You've got two people want to do a deal with each other. I've got Fury, you've got AJ, for both of us to sit down and talk about making the fight happen. Why am I going on Twitter saying something about, how about just get the people in charge to make the decisions, agree what the percent split is, agree all the terms. It can be done. I've done it at the highest level. I've had unification.
Isn't that half the game though? The social media tactics?
I've never need. Depends where you're coming from. If you want the press to believe that you didn't do the wrong thing or you was trying to do the right thing, and if you want to play that game, you can. I've never been interested in that at all. I've just wanted the fights as quickly as possible. But some people would rather drag it out over long periods of time. Whoever's responsible for it, I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes. I just know what I read online and from Twitter and Instagram. And 9 times out of 10, that's a load of crap anyway. There always red herrings here and there. People say one thing one day, the opposite the other day. I'm like, I've tuned out of it.
Yeah, well, listen, you couldn't predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months in terms of the heavyweight division. Even if, say, White does win, and we'll see what happens next week with Fury and Chisora, but with the Alexander Usyk situation kind of there as well, we don't really know that it's that straightforward that he will face him and he will face him if they win their respective fights, whoever these fighters are.
Yeah, no boxing match is straightforward. The only straightforward boxing match at the moment, in my mind, is the winner of White and Franklin fighting AJ. Neat and tidy. Network-wise, contractually, it seems like a very easy fight to make. And so I've got confidence in that. Any other heavyweight fights at the moment, not sure how they're going to go. Not sure if the fights are going to get made. But this is boxing. We love it and we hate it at the same time. But you know, when the fights are ready to happen, we'll be there to soak it up. But up until then, don't stress yourself over it.
You're definitely retired, yeah?
Well, I don't know. I'm starting to get back in shape now. I'm looking in the mirror and the abs are coming back.
Because I've just remembered another bizarre thing when you fought Joe Fournier and then on live TV called out Tyson Fury. That wasn't actually that long ago.
It wasn't. It was about a year ago. A little bit more than a year ago. And that's what happens when I start doing boxing training. If I start even going into an exhibition, I start feeling the energy, I start feeling the vibe, and I start really wanting to go there. That's why I don't do that much boxing training. So I know I could do it, but...
Do you think you could still compete now at the highest level, which is the only level you would come back at?
If my life depended on it, I could, but it doesn't depend on it at all. If it really did, I could, but why? It's, you know, I'm 42 years old, and you know I've done both my shoulders, Achilles, both Achilles. I've done my back surgery, biceps have both snapped, broke my hands. I've pushed this frame, this 6'3", 200-pound frame, as far as it could go. And once again, if my life depends on it, but it will never depend on it. So I'm happy being on the safe side of the ropes now, looking in at other guys doing their thing. Hopefully, with the experience that I've had over the years, good and bad, been able to assist people earning some good money.
Why don't you fight Jake Paul?
Well, clickbait of a question you just got there. No, I'm retired from all exhibitions and professional boxing matches.
All right. I wasn't going to stick that in. Haye calls out Jake Paul. I wasn't going to do that. All right, David, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, we look forward to tomorrow night here in Wembley at the Oval Arena. And you're working tomorrow night as well? Yep,
I'll be here tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. Be there ringside, watching the heavyweights go down. I'm looking forward to it.
Is Derek coming tomorrow?
I'm not sure. I'll ask him.
The fight's only a week away, so maybe not. We'll see.
It'd be a good fight to come to. You get his face out. It'd be a good fight for him to come to. I know he's got once again a third fight with Derek CHISORA.
Tyson Fury, yeah.
No, a third fight with Derek CHISORA and Dillian White.
Oh, with Dillian White. I'd watch that again. I'd watch that again.
What happens in either the next fights, I'd pay to see that again. So there's still fight. That's what I'm saying. But if he comes to the fight, let everyone know. Hold up. No matter what happens.
Watch that?
I'd watch that. I'd watch that all day long.
David, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No, just enjoy your lives. Go easy on the carbs. And
talk to me or the viewers?
I'm talking to you really. Guys, we're gonna get Coogan a six-pack. That's what we're gonna do. It's there under there. A few little
Project Six-Pack.
Project Six-Pack.
I'll take a four-pack to be fair.
Okay, well let's work to one pack, then two, then we get there as a six. We'll get there.
I'm not going to fully commit to you at the moment because I feel like it could end my life if I put myself into some sort of training regime with you.
It's a slight adjustment, bit by bit. You'll get to where you need to get to. Put it over a 6-month plan, so you only make small increments every week. So realistic targets that you get to gradually by manipulating the foods that you eat every day. That's all it is. And then you'll get there and you'll be like, look, I've got a six-pack and I didn't really have to train that hard. So there's ways to do it. I'll help you out.
Thank you. You gave me an hour of advice the other day on the phone, so let's see how we get on with that. David Haye, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. We look forward to tomorrow night live on the Zone if you're not here at Wembley, and we'll grab a word with you after the fight tomorrow.
Perfect. Have a nice one.
Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank vs Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.